Welcome back to day 104 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. Now, we're 21 points away from our goal. Let's see what we can get done today. We might just win and reach a new all-time high, and if we do, it's going to be against our highest rated, it might not be as our highest rated opponent, but at least it would be our highest rated win by a great margin. The Budapest Gambit. So do we accept it? I don't know the theory. I think the name sounds familiar. Let's accept it and see what happens. It is a gambit after all, so it should not be that sound of an opening. The knight jumping in. I guess our opponent here wants us to play this perhaps. So which alternatives do we have? This is not good because takes here, and well, those pawns do nothing good for us at least. We could play e3. e3 might prepare, well, f4 isn't necessarily good. This opens up this bishop. Honestly, why not just develop the knight and defend our e5 pawn? This makes sense to me. Play a logical move, and apparently this is some variation called the Fajarovic, the Fajarovic's yeah. Anyways, that's a variation of the Budapest Gambit. So we're playing against Alpha Real Estate from Azerbaijan. This is a threat. We get an aggressive opponent today. What do we do here? This is an option, and then this idea is killed off. This has to be defended, and this looks to be our best option of doing so. This bishop's not going to be going out anytime soon then, but this is development, and it looks solid to me. Now this king could get castled. This doesn't work because takes. So our opponent here can't really get a lot of pieces into the attack. Now there might be a threat here like this, because this sure does look like a fork to me, unless our opponent dodges it. Or is it a fork? Not necessarily, because the knight defends the bishop, so the knight is the only piece that has to be defended here. Now I think we can give away our pawn here, or we'll trade it off, and we're still up a pawn. Seems solid to me, and well, if our opponent here wants this, then we could go into an endgame up one pawn. Why not? This, and well, I don't really see an argument for going for this. Doesn't do a whole lot, not as much as I initially thought it might. Yeah, let's just take. Let's not spend too much time here. The bishop takes. So there might be a threat here of checking and being annoying. So how do we parry this threat? This doesn't quite work necessarily. This coordination here seems kind of venomous. Still, this does not look optimal. So how about playing queen here, hitting the knight rather, and if this is played, now we can play, well, not necessarily that move, maybe this, and we have got ourselves covered, I think. This moves the queen out of the way, hits the knight, and as I mentioned, I don't think this is a threat in this position. Our opponent has to make a move now. Well, this is a move. Seems quite solid as well, actually. Setting up discoveries. I guess our opponent here might know some theory. Unsurprisingly, to be honest, considering they did in fact go for this line. By their own accord, of course. So maybe this is a move now, hitting the knight. This makes sense to me at least. And this is not a threat because we take. And this doesn't lose anything, I think. Oh no, it does because of a discovery here against our queen. So let's double check here. If this is played and we take, and then if our opponent takes, yeah, that's honestly a bit poisonous. So here, if we come out and get this, we might just have to take the bishop and allow this. And that's not ideal. Do we have to move the queen then? I was hoping for this to work, but I just don't quite see. Oh well, this does work because we just move out of the way. We don't have to take the bishop and then we defend our queen. Okay, I missed that idea. This should work. Down to 10 minutes. God. This is an aggressive player, that's for sure. Okay, so here do we come up like this or like this? There is a third argument, namely going here. But I don't quite like this, so I think I prefer this move, or actually this is what I prefer. And here, if this is played, we come out. Oh, that's no good either. We have to defend this maybe. This is actually difficult. Quite difficult. Are we down a piece here? No, we can replace like this maybe, but still, once this knight takes, looks like we might lose the bishop, unless I am missing something here. This is a horrendously bad attack for us. How do we defend? Is this forced? Honestly, I think this might be our best move here. As bad as it seems, we need to defend this bishop here. And then this could be played. This is a mess, I think, but I do not see a better move than going up with the king. Unless, of course, no, we can't castle, we're in check. This feels bad. I'm curious here to have a look at the game review, but blocking, and once our opponent took here, they would have taken, and we would have lost a piece. This seems more solid. Still, I don't like this, because, well, there is pressure against our bishop. But we'll just have to come up with an idea here, or a plan, if that should happen. This is a poisonous opening. Which I guess is what makes gambits fun oftentimes. We get some interesting positions like this. I'm expecting this to be the best move, and I think we might have to play down a pawn there. Unless this, and we have some counter attack, maybe. Maybe checking here and taking this pawn with this fork. This might work. Yeah, that might be more solid than I initially thought. And the knight might be trapped as well there, so that might not be as bad as one might expect it to be. The knight is hanging here, so it has to move. Or it has to be defended. If it moves, it has to defend the bishop, or we win a piece. This doesn't work because of this, although depending on how our opponent plays, we might get this kind of an idea in this position. Would like to get this rook out and stare down at the queen as well. And I would like to expose the king before it castles. It's been a long day for me today. We had something called a nanoscience symposium today, where a lot of well-renowned laureates in nanotechnology held quite long lectures, or well, numerous ones at least, on nanoscience and their projects within it. And it was quite interesting, but quite exhausting as well. 3 of them won this year's Kavli Prize, which it's called, which was described to us first-year students as being the equivalent of the Nobel Prize for engineers, engineers essentially, which was quite intriguing. One of the people there today was apparently the most cited engineer in history, which is quite an achievement. Now this is what I calculated here. This, and whatever our opponent plays. I think we have this, which should win us material. This is an important position though, so I just want to double check. But yeah, this does seem to work. There the knight would be hanging afterwards. We can't take here, of course, because, well, this or this, and we just lose a piece. So let's take here first, expecting to lose this rook. Now we have to make a decision. Do we have a better move than this, or is this our best option? This is quite the tactically difficult position here. If we play here, which options does our opponent have? Let me have a quick look. Either we see this and we come here, and then We might get this, I don't quite know. 6.5 minutes though, I don't quite see a candidate move apart from this, although this might be good. But then this and this doesn't quite align with our bishop. Our last square bishop is here and not on this diagonal, so let's come up here instead and play what we initially planned. Still, this knight is trapped, can't come here, and can't come here. Although it might be possible for our opponent to extract it. Would be ideal if they can't though. If we get a3 followed by b4 in some position here, might be good. Get those pieces out, win the knight, could be fantastic. Ideally here I think the king moves, because then it's going to be exposed for the remainder of the game. And well, then this comes with the threat of a check as well. So I think our opponent is going to try to block. And well, I think we still go for this, in which case this is still undefended. The queen here, does it have any good moves? I don't see a good counter to this. Or do I? What I'm realizing here is this bishop has now become defended, which I did not see in advance, but can the rook be saved? I don't think the rook can easily be saved. I don't see a move that... Yeah, I don't see an option of saving it, to be honest. This, and we could get something like this. Importantly, our e3 pawn is well defended. There is no check against our king, at least none that poses any danger, as far as I can see. Let's come out. I hope we win some material here. Okay, so this is interesting. We get the rook. Is there a queen trap or any tactic here? Maybe our opponent plans to play this. Not quite sure, but there is no real threat here paired with the knight, I think. Let's take. This is an impossibly weird position, to be honest. Such a bizarre position to be playing. So, well, we have to move our queen now, of course. Unless we want to lose it, which I suspect we don't. This was my initial thought here. Just hitting the knight with tempo, and if it's only defended, I think we trade because we're up material. This is always a move, I think, trying to force something. This doesn't quite work. Would like to get the queen out to a position where it's not easily targeted. This, I don't quite like this as much, getting onto an open file. Let's come here. If knight to e5, we take it with our knight, I think. Well, it's played. Did I overlook something? Because this essentially forces our hand. At least I think so. Or well, this might be an option. I didn't consider this move, but it's quite interesting. The alternative is this and this. Well, let's have a quick look. This, and this. Does it work? No, I don't think it does. Let's come here. This knight can't hit our king. What's a bizarre position. I'm really hoping I'm not missing anything here. This is difficult to calculate. There are a plethora of moves here. If this is played, well, we just take. Or with the queen there even. And this would be great for us. This doesn't work, or well, maybe? No, here we just take the knight, to be honest. We need to get 2 moves in, get our pieces out, because we're currently playing down 11 points here of material, which we could have otherwise been using. So this move becomes important. I don't think we have time to move the pawns here, because we need our pieces as quickly as possible. If this is played, then there is a question, do we take here? And is there an in-between move? Can the knight threaten us? Here. Unless it's a check, I don't see a whole lot. And well, if this is played, we come here, I think. Hitting the knight, which should win material. If we go here and then we get checked like this, well, I don't see an argument against playing for this. I think we're just going to be playing up material. As long as I mentioned, we do not, or rather I do not miscalculate here. Could always sack the queen at some point to get the rook if the queen is not taken. We get checked here. I guess we take. And now our pawns get back together. But this has to be good. This has to be good. This knight is dead and we're up 4 points of material. We just have to avoid blundering. First of all, let's get this bishop out. I would like to avoid this knight getting out. So let's kind of pin ourselves, which might not always be good. But here, I like to cover this and defend this pawn, I guess. And I guess create something of a shield for our king. And once our knight gets out, haven't quite decided where yet, this knight here is won. Or is it? I was looking at discoveries here, but I did not quite see anything convincing. But well, this... I think this move seems best here because this, and I honestly did not quite like this because I didn't see a way of defending the bishop. This, and we avoid that trouble while maintaining our eyes and control over this. So the knight here remains trapped. And we're kind of holding our position together. Guess this, and maybe looking to play this. Don't want to come down here, seems a bit passive. and it doesn't seem like the bishop does a whole lot there. This forces the rook away. So let's play it. I'm expecting this, yeah, and here we come here. And the bishop seems quite powerful. Might even have this in some positions. Well, if this is played... I think I would like to lock this in first. Expecting this, and we'll go here. Still, the knight is trapped. This and this. This, and we take. The bishop can't come down here and help. Can't come here because we take. So after the knight comes out now, this knight is likely to be lost. At least I hope so. Worst case, we could even sack a piece, and we should be in a good position as we're up. Well, it's... what are we up? We are up a light squared bishop and a pawn. And our opponent also has a worse pawn structure. And we have a more centralized king. This is played. Okay. Is there an argument against playing this? Or honestly, here, here, and well, we still win the piece, right? And if knight to... yeah, this seems good. I was looking at this now, but well, sacking a piece is still a losing maneuver. This should be decisively losing for our opponent. Could maybe trap the king at some point. This doesn't work. We take, and that should be lights out. Still, I'm sure here we must have played some inaccuracies today, considering the bizarrely tactical position. Our opponent sacks. Let's take. We're up 6 points of material, namely 2 minor pieces. Okay, this seems most clinical, forking the pieces, and our opponent will be left with 1 piece. This doesn't work because this is covered. And honestly, this is even worse because the rook can't defend the bishop. So the bishop has to defend the rook, and well, that's just a win of an exchange for us. So we're going to be up 2 minor pieces as well as an exchange, which should be devastating for our opponent. The rook moves, so I guess we're up 3 pieces instead. And honestly, this is as winning as can be. Let's just bring our last piece into the game. As long as we don't lose on time, this game will be won. Still, our opponent here is playing on. Kudos to them. We'll just play quick moves while not hanging material. Unpin the bishop, and our opponent blunders. This is a skewer, which is why I wanted to unpin in case we got this, which we did. Or well, this was my initial thought, and afterwards we had this as well, which I looked at, or realized we had. Okay, so which way to kill off all counterplay? Maybe here first. This is not the best move. Definitely not, but just avoids any entry here. Could play for this, but we do have a million pieces as well. This should be trivial. Could we get a mating pattern? Well, maybe. But let's just play simply. This never works. Our opponent is trying to create something though. But this should lose the f-pawn. Honestly, I mislooked this, or what? I miscalculated. Well, still. Should be okay. Would like to get this though. Getting this diagonal shut down should kill the remaining counterplay. Our opponent here is going to be calculating a lot of stuff, trying to swindle something. This is horrendous technique though. I am definitely not happy with this endgame. But to be honest, I'm just tired here. And might have played a bit too quickly. Still, there should be no way of losing. Up 11 points of material. Worst case, we could sack 1, 2, or even 3 pieces, and we should still be winning with the pawn majority here. This is winning. Our opponent still poses some issues. Guess we block. As I mentioned here, this is just horrendously bad technique by me. This should definitely be much easier to convert. Let's come down, the pawns can't move, pick up this pawn. Might even be able to push this pawn here, but probably, you know what, I'll make this as easy as possible. Sack the knight for 2 pawns to force our opponent to resign here. This endgame here shouldn't be necessary to play out. Let's take this. And if the pawn pushes, we go to f1 with the rook. Or we don't even need to go there. Still shouldn't make a massive difference. Our opponent wants to win pieces, I guess. Yeah, let's just take king here. You come back and threaten this, or this works as well, as long as we make sure there is no stalemate. I don't see one. Let's just go here. There is no way of winning for our opponent. Let's make sure they know that.
Yeah, that's bad.
Wow. That's just should never happen. Well, a great find by our opponent though. I got too cocky at the end there, just wanting to convert and win as quickly as possible. Thanks for the game, and well played to our opponent. Let's jump on ahead into the game review and have a look at how this game was played. I'm just baffled. That's bad by me. Well, anyways, still we did get a pretty decent game rating and apparently just one miss. So this might have even been this was a really good game apparently, apart from the last move, I guess. Wow. Let's have a look here. Apparently this was all good. This was brilliant. Should have apparently taken the queen here. Still, this was good. Good moves. I'm kind of dejected here, to be honest. After such I'm going to say it myself too, a great game. This felt fantastic. Blundering that stalemate, that's just bad. Surely this game must have been at least 95% accuracy prior to the last move. Played in 2 seconds. If this was played, we would have won quickly. Didn't even need to take here. Could have just pushed or done anything else. This is the worst game, or the worst move in the position, as it's the only way of blundering a stalemate. Well, you live and you learn, right? This is just going to be content, you know. We still have not won against a 1500 rated opponent. And once we do, it's blundered away on the last move. Well, not ideal, but still I did feel quite happy with this game. This felt like a fantastic game once again. Typically I don't like to compliment my own gameplay. Feels a bit, doesn't feel that humble, but I felt like this game was great. Was happy with the gameplay. Not that happy with the time management, but I'm happy with what we got considering the tactical difficulties here. So in such a difficult position, we did get out of this in a great spot until, of course, the last move. Well, thanks to our opponent, and thanks for watching to the end of the video. Did even get, yeah, I guess I did get some thumbnail bait today, clickbait with a brilliant move, and a horrendously awkward end to the game. This has been our game for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.